I have never played Outer Wilds. In fact, I know very little about Outer Wilds, outside of what a cursory glance and being on the internet can teach you about, well, anything. I know Outer Wilds exists. I know it's the subject of a lot of YouTube videos and Reddit discussions, and the winner of the winner of a lot of awards. The game sounds pretty interesting. Several of my friends have all said I'd really enjoy it. But I've never played it. Until now. The first thing the game asks of you is that you wake up. So wake up is what I do. As I open my eyes, above, a ship or something explodes, and the parts I can make out disappear behind what looks like a gas giant. Cool. Then, I spend an inordinate amount of time making marshmallows. I should probably speak to the guy sitting opposite me, so I do. Slate informs me that I'm a pilot. It's launch day, and, well, all systems go. I'm ready if you are.
I really don't mind that we're testing this with me. Okay, we're off to Hornfells at the observatory.
I need to say it from the off. The soundtrack to this game is beautiful. The opening title music alone made me sit and listen to it, repeating on a loop for a good few minutes. It's only around a minute long, but there it is. The soundtrack in general is evocative of bands similar to Explosions in the Sky or the album Leaf. I actually had to check who the composer was. Andrew Pralo, if you didn't already know. Micah lets me know it's been a long time since anyone's been to space. Forever, in fact. Then, Micah lets me try out a model ship. It's at this time I also spot an interesting looking comet in the sky. That's cool. Okay, model ship time. Land on the platforms. This takes some getting used to. This takes a lot of getting used to. I'm not exaggerating when I say that I was absolutely determined to land the ship in the geyser. That determination would see me making a lot of attempts. So many attempts to land the ship in the geyser, but I wouldn't be defeated.
I have never wanted to do something as much as I wanted to get the ship in the geyser. It became almost like a rhythm. I'd fail, reset, and fly the ship. Fail, reset, fly the ship. Fail, reset, fly the ship.
Then I do, and I noticed something weird. Has the ship ended up in space? What's in that geyser hole exactly? How did that happen? The model ship has travelled far enough to be a tiny speck of light in the sky. Obviously, the answer is to jump in the same hole and see for myself.
So, without a care in the world, I hop on down and jump across to the geyser. I don't even take a deep breath, I just jump right in there.
Off to a good start. Okay, let's try this again. Wake up, it's like it never happened. Porphy, who aside from having an excellent name, lets me know that these people are Hearthians, a hardy people with an ancestry of hunting and gathering. Rutile lets me know that the space program has come a long way. I play with a telescope thing, and I realise that I'm in the middle of a tutorial. Well, how about that? I'm told if I hear music on my travels out in the great beyond that they may well be other travellers. Micah said it's been forever since anyone went to space, so I'm already wondering who these other travellers are. Is Micah just being an overly dramatic child about it? I play some hide and seek. I learn about a monster that lives on Giant's Deep, a water planet out there in the wider solar system. There's something called ghost matter you can only see with a camera, and that will probably kill you. I'm sent to fix a satellite in Zero-G Cave. I shoot a probe off over the horizon. The planet I'm on is Timber Hearth and has a single moon called Attlerock. Then I found myself in a museum. Outer Wilds Ventures is the name of the space program I am part of, their mission being to explore the furthest reaches of the solar system. That's exactly the sort of thing I'm interested in doing. Then there's a weird statue. There was, another being that existed in this solar system thousands of years ago, the Nomai. Outer Wilds Ventures seek to learn more about this species. There are anti-gravity crystals that let me walk on walls, which is brilliant. There's a rock that exists when you look at it. It's quite unsettling actually. If you look at it, there it is. If you don't look at it, it appears to move. It exists in all these spaces at the same time. Beyond all this, the museum has exhibits showcasing the life of stars, the gravity of moons, and other little bits and pieces. There's some Nomai text I'm able to translate, and you know what? This feels good. I'm enjoying this, the part where I jumped into a hole and died notwithstanding. So far, all the ingredients are there for something I'm probably going to enjoy playing. Some exploration, learning about an ancient species, doing cool stuff out in space. There's a map of the solar system that I take some time looking at as well. And there's just something about maps of this scale that I really enjoy. Dark Bramble looks strange. Has it exploded? Giant's Deep, which I learned was a water planet, appears to be what I thought was a gas giant when I first woke up. I'm a bit perplexed by the extrasolar orbit that doesn't have a label as well. That might be interesting to explore too. I grabbed the launch codes for the ship from Hornfels and read his observations. Looks to be the case that Hornfels is up on the expanding universe as a result of Big Bang scientific theory. I tell Hornfels that I'm going to learn more about the Nomai, and he tells me that we still know very little about them. He wishes me luck, and I'm off. Time to head to the rocket. Then this happens. That's normal. I tell the first person I see what happened, and they wonder if I'm medically able to fly the ship that I'm due to scoot off in. Yeah, I'm probably fine. Glowing cat statues causing me to slip through the reality of my own mind is actually a regular occurrence. In real life. The last person I speak to is Tefra. Tefra tells me that someone called Feldspar disappeared, and thanks for boosting my confidence, Tefra. At last, I'm on the ship. There's a computer, a suit, a cockpit. All the things a good spaceship needs. The computer is a log and has a directory of all the important things I've discovered so far. The details in the ship are actually really nice, and I'm completely fine with the fact I spent several minutes just looking around this tiny fraction of space before, finally, at long last, I blast off. Buckle up. Launch. And then I'm immediately in space. It's actually surreal in its own way, but I like it. I feel as though the entire universe is suddenly wide open to me, but I'm going to the moon. Of course I'm going to the moon. It's right there. So I aim, and I try and land. I'm not very good at this. But hey, check me out. I'm on the moon. So, why did I decide to land on the moon first? The entire solar system, all of these interesting places to go, all the things to see. First of all, how dare you? The landing was graceful. The computer log is the real reason though. The Forerunner race, the Nomai, are immediately intriguing to me. The statue and the light show really help with that, but sincerely, I want to know more about them. It isn't just that that's one of the stated objectives of Outer Wilds Ventures that's driving the curiosity either. I just have a real fascination with those who came before, and that's the first thing I want to learn about. The Nomai text in the observatory stated that there was a device of some kind on the moon, the Atl Rock, and that sounds interesting. I meet Esker, who seems like a normal dude, and at this point I'm convinced Micah was just pulling my leg with the whole "it's been forever since anyone went to space" thing. I like that the trees refill my oxygen when I'm nearby though, so that calms down my ever-increasing rage over the trespass on my sensibilities that Micah committed. Esker tells me a bit about the other travellers that don't come to the Outer Rock very often these days, but lets me know the North Pole is a good place to find signals of the other travellers out there in the void. I head to the North Pole, have a scan about, but my mind is on the device. At the South Pole, I found my prize. It's a weird, circular structure, and as I move the ball around, which appears very much to be the control mechanism, I trigger the structure to move and hear some interesting sounds. Not just the rotation of the device, although that admittedly is quite interesting. It's satisfying, even. No, the interesting sounds come from what I'm assuming is whichever planet it is that the device is pointing to. It's actually quite creepy. Exploring further, there's some more Nomai writing, and I learn that this is something they called an eye signal locator, but it isn't working properly. That would explain the spinning it kept doing when I was messing around with it. I don't know what the Eye of the Universe is, but that also sounds like information I'd like to learn. I found some more writings. There's a quantum moon locator built somewhere called Ember Twin, but building there was hard. It was close to the sun. Brittle Hollow is mentioned in the Nomai text as a possible location, and I find the log of another traveller who mentions that they're headed that way too. So that sounds good to me. Let's go to Brittle Hollow. Specifically, the South Pole of Brittle Hollow. Brittle Hollow is weird. As I approach, I realise I can see to the centre of the planet, and that there is a black hole. Okay? I'm just not going to think about that. At least for now. After a much better landing, I find the traveller's ship and a strange structure. I can't get into the place and find a log from the traveller saying they couldn't either. They say there's paths below the surface and that they headed north to find a way down. Below the surface. Where the black hole is. Okay. I take a bit more time to explore and find what I decide in my infinite wisdom is a good way down. Yes, that was a good way down. I'm close now, I think. I found some more writing from the traveller I'm trying to find. I learn about the existence of something called a hanging city, and another thing called a gravity cannon. I can't help but agree with the sentiment posed by the traveller. I really want to see the gravity cannon too. I'm getting a little bit concerned about the black hole, and the fact that this place seems to be collapsing into it, as objects close to black holes typically do. But I figure I've made it this far and it's fine, so let's just keep going. I found a way down, using those cool gravity crystals I learned about at the museum. It's a bit of a strange feeling, having gravity distort like this. A feeling which isn't exactly helped by the black hole directly below me. I play with some more of what I've decided is Nomai technology. And then finally I find Rybeck, sitting here in a lovely campsite. I like Rybeck. He came here because his dream was to see the hanging city. He says that where we are right now appears to have the best surface integrity, and lets me know about the interesting locales on this planet that are worth a visit. I refuel and reoxygenate, roast a marshmallow, and have a super quick nap. 2 seconds worth, actually. Then I head back out to explore further. Although in truth, I'm a little bit directionless right now. I'm not going to lie. The black hole makes me genuinely uneasy. And there's what appears to be some kind of transporter leading nowhere as another chunk of rock glides down into the nether right before my eyes. As I look around, I'm genuinely beginning to feel like there's a lot less of this planet here now than when I first landed. I'm not sure what you're meant to do when you find yourself on the surface of a planet that's slowly being eaten by a black hole. Truthfully, being on a planet that's being eaten by a black hole wasn't something I was expecting. How could you expect such a thing, really? I just got in my ship and flew. I wasn't expecting any of this. Yet it's strangely quite beautiful. I realised that since I left Rybek's camp, I set out to explore some more, but all I've actually done is kind of wander around a little aimlessly. I think a big part of that is the effect that, what I've been talking about with regards to the black hole has had on me. It's a surprise and it's a shock. I'm not sure what to make of it. Not yet. And what is that blue light? I appear to have gone back in time, to the moments just before I launched off into the void. This time, though, I still have the launch codes on me, so I can go straight to the ship. I asked Slate if I just died, but they just put it down to me having a bad dream or something. Which, okay, fine. I'm wondering if it's the case that I still have all the other information that I found out before I was ripped from what I thought was reality and put back here. Sure enough, the ship's log is intact. Okay. Double check the information I have. A traveller named Gabbro went to Giant's Deep to find out more information about the statue in the observatory. I'm starting to put together that maybe the light show was the reason for the time resetting situation, so it's time to go and find Gabbro. The wreckage of whatever it was that blew up when I woke up is in orbit around Giant's Deep, and I'm immediately concerned that there's nowhere to land here. Wait, hang on, what? Insofar as entry into a planet's atmosphere is concerned, this one was confusing. I knew this was a water planet, but I didn't know it was a bizarre planet. So on Brittle Hollow, we have a black hole, and here we have whatever that was below the waves and these crazy tornadoes. Sure, let's just find somewhere to land. More Nomai writing. A message about meeting statues. A workshop inside the island, and I just need to come out and say it. I feel even more unsafe on this planet than I did on Brittle Hollow before the flash of light. This place feels eerie, and has a sense of weirdness about it that I can't quite put into words. It's probably the giant tornadoes, the cloud cover, the landing, the weird glyph-like icons on the floor that depict the tornadoes, and that even though I came here to find Gabbro, I feel really alone on this world. No idea why that is. Exploring this place isn't easy. Things are ruined, and there's a sense of violence. Try sending some probes into the tornadoes, but I don't really find anything other than... Wait, what? Never mind. Another gravity crystal wall to traverse.
At least there's not a black hole at the bottom of this one.
That island isn't moving, don't worry about it. I find the statue workshop, which is closed, but there is another one of those statues outside of it. This one doesn't give me a light show when I approach, though. I am not good at using my jetpack. I walk onto this platform, and then... Yeah, okay. I've arrived at the destination. I officially do not know what's going on anymore.
I'm beginning to think that the laws of physics, well, the laws of anything, no longer apply.
I'm slammed back into the ground and plunged underwater, and how did my ship get there? I try to make the trip into space happen again by standing on the platform, but this time, nothing. I'm beginning to feel really lost. I figure out my jetpack and look around some more, but eventually I figure, you know what? Do you know where it's really safe? The ship. Let's go back to the ship. The lovely ship. The log has been updated with my findings. This island appears to be where the Nomai created the statues, and apparently there's a more dangerous route into the workshop. Somewhere. I still haven't found Gabbro, but it's a big planet, and I've only really explored a tiny part of it so far. So I take off and have a genuine fight with the atmosphere of Giant's Deep. Curiosity does get the better of me. See a tornado larger than all the others and try flying the ship into it. I have no idea why I thought this was a good idea. Just throws me around a bit. If I wasn't disoriented before, I really am now. I spot another island.
And in lieu of any other options, I decide to land.
This island has a really strange structure on it. More tornado glyphs and some scrolls that I can translate. I've no idea where it is that I found myself, but I appreciate the small model that's on display. I take the scroll, find somewhere to place it, and begin translating. The Nomai finished something called an orbital probe cannon, and from the translation it appears they set it into orbit around this planet. Was that what blew up when I woke up? I realise I can walk on these walls. I learned the hard way that the gravity changes as soon as I leave. And then a tornado crosses over my location, and I'm back in space. Again. But so is everything else. Are these tornadoes transporting parts of this planet into orbit? That actually makes sense with my experience so far, and I'm honestly surprised it took me this long to realise that. But hey, at least I did. I'm back on the surface, and I explore further. I find a log saying that 15 minutes and 40 seconds ago, a long-range probe was launched from the cannon. Then I find a projection stone. Shows me a vision? Sure, we'll call it a vision of somewhere else, and it's here that I've gone past not knowing what's going on in its genuine confusion.
There are further texts to translate, and I find out that there's an entrance to the observatory on Brittle Hollow via the gravity cannon or the Tower of Quantum Knowledge. There's also mention of something being able to sink below the planet's core here on Giant's Deep. Maybe I should head back to Brittle Hollow for now, try and find a way into that observatory. The gnome I studied Giant's Deep back there, so maybe I'll find out some information about what's going on this planet. Back to the ship then. As soon as I attempt to take off though... Okay, actually, let's stay here a little longer. I take off and then head straight back to Giant's Deep. Then the same music that I heard on Brittle Hollow starts playing. I'm not entirely sure what to make of this entire situation. I have been thrown about left, right and centre by this planet, and I'm not feeling great. So I just start wandering a little bit. There's another island that's come into view, and it looks peculiar enough to warrant a closer look. This place feels familiar and yet different to what I've found on Giant's Deep so far. There's something really off about it, but I feel like I've been here before. I can't quite put my finger on it. It gets dark, and I realise that this is the same island that I happened upon when I first landed here. Then there's another flash. Thank you for joining me on my journey into the Outer Wilds so far. I have a feeling that I've barely scratched the surface, and there's a lot more out there waiting to be discovered. I'm excited to find out more, and I hope to see you again. Until next time, it's been Outer Wilds.